Welcome back to Yusuf Reacts. Today, we're diving into the whimsical world of Mary Poppins Returns, the enchanting sequel to the beloved classic. Released in 2018, this film brings a fresh touch of magic while honoring the charm of the original. Let's take a closer look. Mary Poppins Returns takes us back to 1930s London, where the Banks family is facing tough times. Michael Banks, now grown up and a widower, is struggling to keep his family together. Enter Mary Poppins, played by the delightful Emily Blunt, who returns to bring magic and joy back into their lives. Emily Blunt steps into the iconic role originally played by Julie Andrews, and she does so with grace and charm. Her portrayal of Mary Poppins is both nostalgic and refreshing, capturing the essence of the character while adding her own unique touch. Joining Blunt is Lin-Manuel Miranda as Jack, a charming lamplighter with a heart of gold. Miranda brings his musical prowess to the film, and his chemistry with Blunt is undeniable. Together, they lead us through a series of whimsical adventures. One of the highlights of Mary Poppins Returns is its delightful musical numbers. With songs like "Can You Imagine That?" and "A Cover Is Not the Book," the film pays homage to the original while offering new tunes that are sure to get stuck in your head. The visual style of the film is a feast for the eyes, blending live action with stunning animation. The vibrant colors and imaginative settings make every scene a visual delight. At its heart, Mary Poppins Returns is a story about family, resilience, and the importance of imagination. It's a touching reminder that, no matter how challenging life gets, a little bit of magic and a lot of love can make all the difference. A few decades after her original visit, Mary Poppins, the magical nanny, returns to help the Banks siblings and Michael's children through a difficult time in their lives. In Depression-era London, a now-grown Jane and Michael Banks, along with Michael's 3 children, are visited by the enigmatic Mary Poppins following a personal loss. Through her unique magical skills, and with the aid of her friend, Jack, she helps them rediscover the joy and wonder missing in their lives. In 1935 London, Michael Banks Ben Whishaw lives in his childhood home. With his children Annabelle Pixie Davies, John Nathaniel Salas, and Georgie Joel Dawson. With his wife, Kate, having died a year ago, Ellen Julie Walters Michaels and Jane's longtime housekeeper, and Jane Emily Mortimer Michael's older sister are helping him to raise the children. However, Michael has taken a loan from the Fidelity Fiduciary Bank to cover expenses. And William Weatherall Wilkins Firth, a corrupt president of Fidelity Fiduciary Bank, sends his associates to warn him that his house will be repossessed if the loan is not repaid entirely by Friday. Michael and Jane remember their father left them shares in the same bank that can cover the loan, and search the house for the certificate proving their ownership of the shares. During the search, Michael finds a kite, but finds no worth in it anymore and puts it out to give away. While out in the park with Annabelle and John, Georgie finds the kite and tries flying it. He ends up being pulled into the sky, but then comes down with Mary Poppins Emily Blunt, who decides to take care of the 3 children as their nanny and starts off by drawing them a bath, which leads down to an oceanic world. However, Mary Poppins denies anything fantastical happened. Michael goes to the bank to see if he can find proof of his shares, but Wilkins denies that there are any records of them before tearing the record out of the official ledger and burning it in the fireplace after Michael has left his office. That evening, Annabelle and John decide to sell their mother's priceless bowl to pay off the debt. Georgie tries to stop them, and the bowl ends up damaged while the 3 were fighting over it. Jack Lin-Manuel Miranda, a Cockney lamplighter, greets Mary Poppins and joins her and the kids on a trip inside the painting on the side of the bowl. The group meets the talking animals drawn on the bowl, and Mary Poppins creates the Royal Doulton Music Hall. However, Georgie is kidnapped by a gang of a wolf, a weasel, and a badger who try to steal the children's stuff, and Annabelle and John go to rescue him. They successfully do so but end up going out of painting, and later wake up in their beds, thinking their experience was a dream but realizing it was shared and discovering it was true by seeing a fixed wheel in the bowl's carriage. The next day, Mary Poppins and the children go to see Mary's cousin Topsy Meryl Streep. Mary Poppins' eccentric Eastern European cousin called Tatiana Antanasia Kosatori to Petropavlovsky to get the bowl fixed and find out the bowl has little monetary value. They then go to the bank to give Michael his briefcase, but when the children go to Wilkins' office to ask him for help, they overhear him planning to take away their house. Realizing Wilkins and his associates turn out to be also the same animal gang who kidnapped him, Georgie interrupts the bankers' meeting. When Michael arrives, he does not believe the children and becomes angry with them for putting the house and his job at risk. Mary Poppins takes the children home, and they are guided by Jack and his fellow lamplighters, who teach the children their lingo. Back home, Michael scolds his children for putting his job at risk, telling them that the bank repossessing the house is true, and fears that he will lose his wife's spirit too. But the children reassure him that she will always be with them, and Michael forgives them. The bank's family prepares to move out of their house, but while examining his old kite, Michael realizes Georgie used parts of the shares certificate to cover the kite's holes. Michael and Jane head to the bank while Mary Poppins and the children go with Jack and the lamplighters to Big Ben to turn back time. After scaling the clock tower, Jack and Mary turn Big Ben back 5 minutes, giving Michael and Jane enough time to reach the bank. Michael and Jane reach the bank in time but are unsuccessful in getting their shares due to not having the part with the signatures on the certificates. However, an elderly but still capable Mr. Dawes Jr.B. Dick Van Dyke, the chairman of Fidelity Fiduciary Bank and William's uncle, arrives and fires Wilkins from the bank for his corrupt business practices being taken away by his now reformed associates. Mr. Dawes reveals Michael and Jane's father, George, had invested Michael's tuppence from 25 years ago, and that the returns from that investment are enough to repay the loan. Therefore, he permits the Bankses to keep their shares and their house. The next day, the Banks family goes to the park to celebrate their victory and purchases balloons that take them into the air, making Michael recover his lost memories about his and Jane's fantastical adventures with Mary when they were kids, in which they are joined by Jack and numerous others. When they return home, Mary Poppins realizes it is time for her to go, and Michael and Jane thank her as she flies back up into the sky. Expectations were very high for Mary Poppins Returns. Mary Poppins is still one of my all-time favorite films, the very meaning of a timeless classic. The cast is also a very talented one and have enjoyed some of Disney's previous remakes follow-ups. After watching the trailer, Mary Poppins Returns did become one of my most anticipated films of 2018. And was really hoping it would be as good as the trailer was and not be a disappointment. Where the trailer was great and the film was not, like another highly anticipated film, The Nutcracker and the Four Realms. Found myself luckily really enjoying this on the most part after seeing it with my sister. It is not in the same league as, or have the same amount of magic as, Mary Poppins, which would have been a tall order in the first place with such enormously high quality to love up to. But on its own merits there were for me a lot of merits and a lot to enjoy for all ages, young and old, male and female. Mary Poppins Returns is imperfect and the magic is not quite there all the way through. But for me the film was not devoid of it and there is a great deal of charm, not a cash grab. There is not an awful lot of originality to the story, really did appreciate that it tried to be respectful, which is obvious in the numerous nods throughout the film. But structurally there was a sense of over-faithfulness and that it could have felt more like its own story. There were a few draggy stretches and scenes that felt like filler. Especially the rather strange and not really needed in hindsight scene with Meryl Streep. Really like Streep, but she and her character were just bizarre and she overdosed the acting, with the character feeling like a going nowhere plot device practically forgotten about quickly. Confess too to guessing early on everything with the shares. However, Mary Poppins Returns benefits hugely from looking absolutely wonderful. Beautifully shot and with gorgeous nostalgic colors in the production and costume designs that fondly recall Mary Poppins. The animation in the animated sequence shows technological advancement, and how a lot of effort was made to show respect to Mary Poppins. Another huge plus is Emily Blunt closer to P.L. Travers' vision of Mary Poppins, who is superb and the asset that comes closest to being practically perfect in every way. She is well supported by Lin-Manuel Miranda, sporting a not-so-great accent but immense energy. Likability, charm and a great singing voice, they work wonderfully together too. Most obvious in a cover is not the book, as well as appealing beyond their years performances from the children evident. In the tense climactic moments of the animated scene, movingly stoic Ben Whishaw and charming Emily Mortimer. Colin Firth is fun, and in the animated sequence his voice work was the standout. Julie Walters is even more of a hoot. And really loved the Dick Van Dyke and Angela Lansbury cameos and a hilariously crusty David Warner. Only Streep didn't work for me. A lot has been said about the inferiority of the songs. We'll say that they are nowhere near the same quality of those in Mary Poppins and are unlikely to become songbook standards. In their own way though, to me they were very pleasant and well composed, the best being Can You Imagine That and Nowhere to Go But Up. Both actually very hummable, and the one miss being the completely forgettable and pointless Turning Turtle. They were also very well staged, neither overblown or static. The standouts being Nowhere to Go But Up and A Cover Is Not the Book didn't actually find the latter long-winded. That for Can You Imagine That was very colorful and had immense charm. A highlight too was the Dolton Bowl or vaudevillian animated sequence. Loved the animation itself and it was just very entertaining and charming with a tense end. Most of the film left me completely gripped. The script had drollness and heart with some funny moments. And there was an investable emotional impact with the Banks story without it being cloying. It was hard not to squeal and shed a small tear at the affectionate and nostalgic nods to Mary Poppins peppered throughout the film. This was clearly made by people who loved, or at least had great affection for, Mary Poppins, not intent on tarnishing it. It's directed with a loving hand by Rob Marshall and the instrumental score is lush and whimsical. So all in all, as said, not practically perfect in every way but the magic almost returns. 7/10 Bethany Cox. So, should you watch Mary Poppins Returns? If you're a fan of the original or simply love a good family film with a magical twist, this movie is definitely worth a watch. It's a charming continuation of a classic tale that brings joy to audiences of all ages. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more movie reviews and fun content. Let us know in the comments what you thought of Mary Poppins Returns and what other films you'd like us to review. See you next time.